So, good evening, everybody. I believe we are live. So, good evening, George Washington. Hi there, Stella. Hi, Valentine. Hi, Honora. Hi, Manji. Hi, Oksana. I'm sure there are lots more people out there as well. Hi, Aina. Okay, so, good evening, Ahmad. Okay, what the live streams are normally about is I take an article from BBC News, yo, left or right, and what I do is I add extra words to it, and you've got to choose the word that came from the original article. The difference between hope and I'm hoping. Here. Yes, let's see. I'm hoping something's going to happen. I hope this will happen. Normally this is something that's very realistic. It's different to wish. I'm really hoping to be there, but maybe I can't be. I hope I'll be there. I think both of them are very similar, though. I think the big difference, GW, is between I hope and I wish, because if you say I wish, then you're saying it can't come true. So let's see. Yo, left or right, great to have you, mate. And you too, Roland. Good evening, Count. Good evening, VG. Great to see you. Wolf, I'm sorry to hear you're ill. I hope you haven't got the dreaded lurgy, VG. Take care of yourself. Wolf, that sounds horrible. I know Manji knows all about the dreaded lurgy. So far, touch wood, I'm fine. Although I have been well vaccinated. Yeah, I think that's a good sentiment, Roland. Get well soon, VG. Okay, so, yes, Ahmad, as I was saying, this is the last question from last time. In the second part of the study, he told participants that their feelings weren't based in, by, on, from, on, or with, and the right answer is based on the food they were about to see, but on a low frequency, mood boosting sound that was played, one which wasn't marked, accountable, imputable, detectable by humans, while a second group had no influence. What's up, Vitali? Good evening, Reynard. Hi, Aina. And good evening, Abira. Great to have you. So this is where we really start to rock and roll. Yeah, take care of yourself, VG. Whoa. Huh. Yes, you've got to find the best alternative. This is what's called a multiple choice close that they do in lots of the exams that we have. Okay, if you've been vaccinated, that's a good thing. So let's see. Those who were told about the sound were no more likely to account, give, outline, tide, report that they'd engage with the video on social media after watching the video of calorie-dense food. So we're starting to get the answers. This is great. Okay, so we've got report already for left or right, Count, Ahmad, and Vitali. Let's give it some more. What's this verb, to tide? I'm sure you all know the word tide, talking about the sea that comes in and out. Thank you very much, Renato. Okay, so we've also got report for Oksana, for SH, and for Stero, and also for Nora. Here. I've had my third already in Spain, Aina. Yeah, but that's because here in the north they've been quite efficient with it. And report for Reynard Roland. The tide has turned, but what is tide, left or right, as in tidings? Tidings of COVID and joy. Tidings, to tide. Here. More likely, not organised, to say, to respond. Okay, so to account, no way. Here. Tide, ebb and flow, but what about the verb to tide? To tide, as in tidings of COVID and joy. I tide you good day. Yeah, what are the tidings from the kitchen? So you're not going to account. To give information, to say. To outline means to explain. Manji's gone for report as well. Okay, very good. Thank you, Vitali. Yeah. News, to give, to tide, to give news, tidings, news, tidings of COVID and joy. It means news, so that's a different meaning for you. Tide as in tidings, good tidings, is good news, is the meaning, Ahmad. Okay, so to tide, yes, wish, I think as well. Although to tide, to give news, but tidings, wishes, it works quite well as well. So to tide, to give news, well, not really. The right answer here is to report. Whoops, I need a capital here. R-E-P-O-R-T. Okay, to report that they'd engaged. Good tidings means good news. That's it, Nora. Exactly. Good tidings, good news. On the news program, they tied us with the tidings of the day. It's a bit old-fashioned, though. No, Mandican, the answer was report. Okay, to report that. So, let's have a look at the next one. We're almost finished with this article, but the next article's the same. But ultimately, when we click off social media, we leave social media and go back in, for, at, by, with, into real life. Many influences on what and how we eat are still much stronger. So here, still even much stronger. Okay, tidy is different to tide. Okay, I bring tidings from your mother. Yeah. The tidings are very good. It's much more common as a noun, or as this noun, tidings. So, let's see, this is interesting. So, count goes for back in, Vitali goes back into, SH goes for into, Valentine for into, left for right, Nora, Abira, Vuslat goes into, Renyard says for, Aina for into, Oksana for into. Good evening, Ronan. Great to have you. Manji for into. Okay, so go back to real life. Go back into real life. I'm not sure. Let's see. I think you could go back to real life, but the reason to is not there is because it's the original was into. I think to fits very nicely, and go back to real life, that fits fine. But into, notice into, motion to a place. So we're moving from social media into real life. I put it into my hand. Notice to is normally a direction. Yeah. I'm going to the house, in the direction of the house. I'm going into the house. I'm entering the house. Okay, good evening, Anastasia. Okay, so the right answer here is into, which most of you got, yeah? Omen. Yeah, an omen can be a positive word. It's a good omen, yeah? Very often they associate it with bad things, but it doesn't have to be, Nora. So when we go back, to would fit. I think into is better, yeah, and none of the others. So we go back into real life. The influences on us are much, much stronger. Okay, so yeah, so as I said, Mandican, two works. Put your thoughts into writing, yeah. Put your thoughts onto paper, yeah? But motion towards, from your mind into words. It's got the idea of a conversion as well. I'm fine, thanks, Anonymous. So, here we go. Good evening, Paul. Tune. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we're already in it. I expect that food cues are stronger in person, says Argeseanu. We're not engaging in the same way when we're scrolling through photos, and we're not engaging for long. Also, some research shows that if we're scrolling through lots of photos, we start to tune them out, turn them out, track them out, set them out, remodel them out. We start to feel something that feels like satiety, fullness. You remember satiate from the other day, from last week. Yeah, something that feels like satiety, as if we've eaten all the foods. Good evening, Vibes. Great to have you. So, tune for Leferite, tune for Vitali, Count, Wuslat, Oksana, Vibes, Manji, tune them out. Okay, Tidings of COVID is a jolly good tune. And, very good, thank you, Leferite. And Ronan goes for tune as well. The previous lesson, yes, I said we're going to have this later. So to tune out, normally a radio, you're trying to listen to a radio and you tune in, you get the exact right channel. But if you tune out, your mind stops listening to it. Okay, so good. Tune for SH, Nora. We try to remodel them out. No, to remodel is normally talking about a building or a car. It's talking about remaking something. Yeah, it's making it new. And I don't like remodel at all. Tune out, we had it last Sunday, exactly. To track them out. To track means to follow. Yeah, to walk after something. I was tracking a deer while I was hunting. So tune as well for Renyard, Roland and Paul. Yes, no, Paul's gone for turn. We don't turn them out. To turn out, to either make something go, but not in this case, or the factory turns out a lot. Like block out, yes, thank you, Vibes. I love the way you give me good synonyms of these. Okay, good evening, Astronomia Escrituras. Thank you very much indeed. Is Henry Fortescue. Okay, tune them out. That's the phrasal verb, to tune out. You tune in, you concentrate. When you first hear my accent, it might be difficult to understand, but if you tune in, you understand it better. On the brink, on the edge of extinction, yeah? The brink of something, the brink of a precipice, on the very edge of it. Okay, so, whoops, I didn't actually write tune. We tune them out, yeah? He was shouting at me for ages, and I just started to tune out, not to listen to it. At least if you do choose to enjoy only these feasts over Instagram, it won't leave you needing to loosen your belt. I love this one. So we've already got 4 votes for loosen. So notice, okay, so loosen for Leferite, Vibes, Vitali, Nora, Count Beauty, Vuslat. So notice, loose, 1 O, lose, 2 O's. The pronunciation is difficult. Lose and loose. I've got it the wrong way round. Loosen isn't a verb, but to loosen is the verb of loose. So, on the edge of, on the brink of, on the verge of, absolutely, Ina. So, we've got, actually, this is very interesting. Okay, so, loosen for Leferite, Vibes, Vitali, Nora, Count, Vuslat, Valentine, Manji, Oksana. Then SH goes for loose. And actually looking at this, to loose your belt, I think you could also use to loose as a verb, but it's much more common as a verb to loosen. So I'm going to accept to loose, but I prefer loosen is a better verb. So loosen for Ro, for Anonymous, for Mandikan, Ronan, Abira. Loosen is not a thing. No, it's not a word. Loosen, like as Renyard, Paul, To loose versus to loosen. Well, firstly, loose is most commonly an adjective. I think you could loose an animal, to set it free. Whereas you loosen, you make less tight. So I think to loose has the idea of set free. Yeah? Who loosed this virus on us? But to loosen, to make less tight. That's a good question, Mandikan. I like it. Loose your weight and quickly run away. The fastest way to get fit. Loose or lose, GW. To lose, Lautrec. Loose is common as an adjective. It's much more common as an adjective. I think also to loose means to completely set free. Yeah? Who loosed that dog in this room? Whereas loosen is to make less tight. The quarrel loosens the good relationship between mother and daughter. Great. So, good evening, RMNP. Yes, it's late, but at least it's not 4 in the morning. Satiety. 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 It's a great verb. To satiate. To loose. To express freely. He let loose his feelings. That's good. But notice there's more freedom with it. One more similarity and I'll lose it. I'm not surprised. So, good evening, Josh. Great to have you, Josh Josky. So, here we have a new one. Yeah, Toulouse-Lautrec. That's very, very Leforite. So, this new one's about the everyday foods that could become luxuries. So, we're still going to continue on with the concept of food, and this is the new one. Okay, I'll put the link in the video when this comes out as a video. Okay, so remember, to lose, 1S, to loose, to set free, to express freely. Loose as an adjective, not tight. To loosen as a verb, to make less tight. So here we go. Meat is likely to become a luxury food in the next few decades as more people take, adopt, acquire, appoint a plant-based diets to reduce their carbon, footstep, footprint, fingerprint, imprint. Toulouse is a town in France, Mandikan. It's a town in the south of France. So we've got adopt for Leforite and footprint. Adopt for Mangi and Vitali, and Valentine goes for take and footprint. Oksana for adopt and footprint. Vitali footprint. Count for adopt and footprint. Loose, to loose, to set free. Yes. Good evening, Flower. It's nice to have you. To loosen up. That's good indeed. And SH goes for adopt, and Abira adopt and imprint. Anastasia adopt. Indeed goes for mark. SH goes for footprint. Manji for adopt and imprint. A blaze of glory. Normally to go out in a blaze of glory, you have a very glorious and fantastic end. Yeah? He went out of the competition in a blaze of glory. So everybody noticed him, but it was finished. So this is very interesting. I thought you were all going to get this second one. This carbon one, this is a collocation they've been using the whole time. So take up a diet. Thank you for that, Oksana. That's the problem with take. Yeah? So, take up. So notice, I'm going to put an up here, so it can't be take. Take up. Adopt to, I saw Roland say somewhere. No. To adopt something. No preposition with adopt. To acquire means to get. Where did you acquire that book? No. Okay. To appoint. To appoint somebody in a job. To give a job or a position to. No, it's definitely adopt. Okay, and then a carbon footprint. Yeah, this is the collocation that they're using in the press the whole time. Yeah. Adopt and footprint for Aina. Okay, so adopt flower, unfortunately. Roland, that's it. A carbon footprint. Adopt flower, that's good. A person's carbon footprint. To take up, to embrace or adopt, exactly. To acquire knowledge. Yes, to get from somewhere. But it's more important that people adopt a diet, to adopt something new. And then, so a footstep is a pace. A fingerprint's the print from your finger that the police look at. Your carbon imprint makes sense and it's not wrong, but carbon footprint is the collocation. Carbon footprint, you will find this all over the place in the press. In take up is the preposition denoting full or completely. Yes, very good, Mandican. So, to attain. To attain a plant. So attain is more like acquire. Yeah? Whereas this is adopt, you make it habitual and use it. So, yeah, that's anything but you, humble left or right. Great to have you. So, ordering lobster in a restaurant or serving it at a party is considered the height of gastronomic sophistication. But that hasn't always been the case. Lobster has worked its way up from shy beginnings, menial beginnings, servile beginnings, mild beginnings, coy beginnings, humble beginnings, to become a gourmet delicacy. So we've got humble for left or right. Accursed. Accursed means very annoying. It's been cursed. It's exasperating, yes. People generate greenhouse gases. That's the carbon footprint. So, humble for S.H. Vitali, Valentine, Nora. Okay, humble for Renyard, Aina, Oksana, Manji. Berserk means absolutely crazy, to go berserk. Humble beginnings. This is a good collocation, as Roland shows us. Humble beginnings, humble for Abira, for Vuslat, for Ronan, for Paul. Absolutely. So we're getting a landslide here. Menial jobs, a menial job, a menial task. This is a low level of low importance. Servile. Servile is somebody who does everything they can to serve you. Yeah? But they're making themselves your servant or your slave. I don't like people being servile. I like people to be themselves. If somebody's servile, they make themselves unimportant, and their only task in life is to be at your service. Mild. Mild's not good. Mild means not strong. Coy. Coy is another word for shy. Coy and shy mean timid. Yeah, he's a shy man. He's a coy man. Both of these are similar. Humble origins. That's another great collocation, Aina. I really like it. I wish he wasn't so servile. Yeah, he's pretending to be my slave or my servant, and don't be so servile. Yeah, be yourself. Be just another member of the group. So I liked humble origins. So humble origins, humble beginnings. That's a good collocation. So we're going to have another one now. Brilliant. I'm going to have a little bit of liquid too. Lubricate my throat. Crawling sycophants are always servile. That's great. I love it, Renyard. This task is of menial importance, minor, insignificant, petty, but also low status, Nora. Obsequious, servile. That's a good one, Josh. I love it. Obsequious, servile. brown nosing, menial jobs, lackey, lumpen proletariat. Absolutely, Mandican. Okay, yes, that was fine, Josh. And it's my turn to start working again. In the 18th century, lobster was considered a highly undesirable food that wealthy families went clear of, walked clear of, rode clear of, moved clear of, ran clear of, steered clear of. This is a collocation. So, steered for left or right vibes, Ina, Oksana. At this rate, at this speed, at this velocity, at this rate, we're never going to finish. And steered for Abira. Valentin goes for went. SH goes for steered. Count for ran. Manji for steered. And Vitali for steered. And same for Ronan. And Roland says steered clear of. Okay, there's definitely a landslide for obsequial. I don't know. You see, obsequious. It's certainly from a Latin root. It might be from French origin. It's certainly got a Spanish origin to it. Okay, yeah, wealthy family avoided like the plague. So steered clear of for Anastasia, for Nora. Vuslak goes for went. And Paul for steered. No, the right answer here is steer. Whoops. Clear of. To steer clear of. No, not walked either, Mandikandan. I keep getting that wrong. I call you Mandikan as opposed to Mandikandan. Steer clear of. Steer clear of. The boss is in a really bad mood today. Steer clear of him. Steer clear of those people or you're going to get into trouble. Yeah, you need to steer clear of trouble. To steer, you're driving your car and your hands are on the steering wheel. You could steer right and steer left. Went clear of. No. Walked clear of. He walked clear of the scene. But that's because he was very close to it to start with. To steer, if you steer clear, you never go close to it. To ride clear of, no. To move clear of, no. To run clear of, no. To steer clear of. Steer a path is another good collocation. Yes, I think it is. To we need to steer the path between enough but not and too much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Steer clear of doing something. Absolutely, Donald. That's a great use of it. When you're speaking in English, please steer clear of translating from your native tongue. Yeah, steer clear of it. It's only going to give you problems. So, if a sentence ends with a preposition, what does it denote? When to use so? It's called a hanging preposition, and people used to say it was wrong, but there's nothing wrong with a preposition at the end of a sentence nowadays. Yeah. Lobster's absolutely delicious, George Washington. It's shellfish. It's like a crab. It's to negotiate, to deal with, to say yes, to try and get a good position. So, okay, we're in already. The crustacean was so abundant along the east coast of the US that it was used as fertilizer and served in prison. Kentucky politician John Rowan quipped, gagged, quirked, drolled, witted. Lobster shells about a house are looked about, looked onto, looked under, looked upon as signs of poverty and degradation. So, left or right goes for quipped upon. SH for witted upon. Oksana for witted upon. Steer of, to eschew, to avoid like the plague, absolutely. Valentin goes for upon. Vitali for quipped. Manji for quipped and upon. Hi Emin, great to have you. And Mandikan goes for quipped. Okay, so let's see. Only one of these words works well. Let's see. A quirk. Well, firstly, to quirk isn't a verb. A quirk is a special, unusual characteristic. The iPhone is rather quirky because it only has one button. A quirk, a special characteristic that's different. So, dodge, steer clear. Yeah, that works very nicely. They dodged it, yeah. And count for witted and about. Rock lobster. And Roland for quipped. Paul for witted. Reynard witted and looked upon. Quipped and looked upon for Mandycan. Looks like witted doesn't work here. That's an interesting comment, Oksana. Looked upon for Roland. Ina says quipped and upon. Nora for witted and upon. Vitali for upon. Anna G, good evening, for upon. Apouvra for equipped. Abira for witted. Hi Hamilton. And Apouvra. Quirky means strange, unusual. Absolutely. To gag means to put something in somebody's mouth. If you're gagging, you're choking. Yeah? If you've got something stuck in your throat, you're gagging. He's gagging to do this. He's really keen to do this, but no, not at all. Then drolled. Well, we have a word droll, an adjective. This is very droll from the French word drôle, meaning funny, but not as a verb. To wit. To wit isn't a verb either. Yeah? If you're quick-witted, so John Rowan quick-wittedly said, but wittedly doesn't work. It's okay, Ibra, no problem. So, happen to do it by chance. Yeah, to do it accidentally. Okay, good evening, good. So, take care of yourself, VG. Quipped and looked upon for Vuslat. Josh, gagging and gagging. They're the same. They're the same, Josh. Okay, try again, Josh. Kidnappers gag the mouth of the victims to cut off their voice. Yeah, so that we can't hear them. Yeah? Gaggling. To gaggle means to talk. Well, let's see. A gaggle of geese. A goose is a big bird, a huge chicken that lives on water. So gaggling, talking all together. They were gaggling all night. I hope not, left or right. I hope he's all right. Yeah, they were gaggling all night. They were talking all night. If you listen to a goose, and that's the idea of gaggling. But notice, a group of geese is a gaggle of geese. Okay, so yes, I know it is Onyx, and it's midday in Latin America. Okay, so the first answer is quipped. So a quip is a joke. To quip, yeah. To quip, yeah. A quip. He quipped. He made a joke. So yes, left or right is Mr. Quips. He's always quipping. He's always making jokes. And seal the deal means to make the deal work. Anastasia goes for quips. So said that gagging is like eager for. That's another meaning for it. I'm gagging for a pint of beer. It's like I'm choking for it. To gag is like to choke. Gaggling, prattling. That's very good, Mandycan. Yeah? So said that gaggling is also eager for. Yes, Ina. B-posh. Okay. I'm gagging for a mojito. That works very nicely, Ina. Gagged. No. It's so quipped. To quip. I know there's this word a gag. It's just a gag. It's a joke, but not as a verb. To gag, the verb is different. Yeah. If he's gagged, he's got something in his mouth, so he can't actually talk. To make a witty remark. That's very good. He's very witty, Anastasia. The gagging of G saved Rome. Okay, and then to look upon, to consider, to look about, to look from one side to another, to look onto. My window looks onto the beach. To look under doesn't exist. To look onto, to consider. So this is looked onto as a sign of poverty. Yeah. Looked upon, considered, absolutely GW. Okay, so to quip, to make jokes, to gag, to put a gag in someone's mouth. I'm gagging, I really want. A quirk, a special peculiarity. Droll without the D, meaning funny. What a droll joke. Wit, again, not a verb. He's very quick-witted. Yeah, he's intelligent. He's very witty. I can't stop laughing when he's gagging. Okay, but that's because he's vomiting. Look under the bonnet. Okay. Witty Jack, Pirates of the Caribbean, intelligent Jack. Witty and funny. And quirk isn't transitive. He quirk isn't intransitive. He quirked. No, I don't even think quirk is a verb. I think a quirk is a noun. This is a quirk. It's very quirky. A gagging order. That's just what you need, left or right. It's a brilliant phrase. It's a brilliant collocation. A gagging order means you can't say something. You can't print something in the press. You're not allowed to speak. To drool is when saliva comes down your mouth. He was drooling. The dog was drooling and the saliva was going all over the ground. To deem or to consider, yes, to look onto. Yes, this is looked onto as... looked onto. No, looked upon, Nora. Not looked onto, looked upon. Yeah, this is looked upon, to deem. To look onto, you have your window looks onto the pyramids, perhaps. Yeah, or maybe the Aswan Dam. Okay, so let me start or I'm going to get behind. It was the development of railways in the US which transformed lobster into a luxury. Train operators decided to serve lobster to their wealthy passengers, who was unaware of the seafood's poor esteem, reputation, notoriety, dignity, record. Okay, so upon, absolutely, Olis, yes. So reputation for Ina, Count, SH, Oksana, Valentina, Bira, Vitali, Manji. Yeah, you meant intransitive. It's not even a verb, vibes. Quirk is a noun, absolutely, Vitali. Quipped, yes, quipped. To quip is to make jokes. Yeah, if you watch the stream, left or right is always making quips. He's always quipping. Reputation, but you also like esteemed. Dared to the combat in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him. Okay, and Vuslat for reputation, Olisris for reputation, and Roland. Apurva goes for notoriety. Ronan for reputation, Renyard and Paul for reputation. Poor record. Yes, I think record might fit, but normally a record is more normally for people. Yeah, his record is not very good. This team's record is really rather bad. It's poor record. I guess it fits, but I'm not terribly happy with it, Oksana. I would give you that. It's a very poor second. Who were unaware of the seafood's poor esteem. But esteem is normally the regard, the status that you give someone. So I hold him in high esteem. Thank you, AS. Okay, and Josh has gone for record. So I'm gonna discard record, but it does fit. Salam alaikum, Elsin. Okay, so esteem I don't like. Notoriety, we don't need this poor, because if something has notoriety, it's got a bad reputation. Notorious means you have a reputation for being bad. And dignity. Dignity is being posh. Yes, this is below my dignity. Yes, my dignity would not allow me to eat lobster. Well, mine would, because I love lobster. So, yeah. Reputation, definitely. A poor reputation. Criminal record is a problem, absolutely. Self-esteem, as Roland said. Ollis, certainly Ollis. Brilliant. Thank you, Ollis. That makes my life easier. So Nora for record as well. Okay, I'll accept record, but I prefer reputation. Out of record. We are all into the project. Off the record. Yeah, off the record. Yeah, maybe. Blibbering. I think this is more like blithering. I think to blibber's just probably to, it's not a word I know, to talk nonsense, I would say. Esteem is favourable regard, but most normally for people. Yeah, I esteem him very highly. Yeah, this work is highly esteemed. Poor notoriety must be something really bad. Well, no, it's a double negative, George Washington. So if his notoriety is poor, then it's not, I would say, poor, low quality notoriety. It's poor background. Yes, background might work. Notoriety, infamousness. Yeah, it's infamous. I like that word. Notorious, infamous. I esteemed how my teacher makes his classes. We can't talk about food in terms of its poor record. Not really. You could talk about a restaurant in terms of its poor record. Or maybe the poor record of this type of food because it's been poisoning a lot of people. But I think you're right, Vitali. Talk moonshine is like talk nonsense. I guess so. It's not a phrase I know as well. Moonshine for me is illegal alcohol. Yeah, you can buy moonshine around here. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Moonshine. Walking on moonshine. Yes, I guess to talk moonshine, to talk nonsense. I think it sounds very American, Ina. Probably yes, because it's poor quality notoriety. You're not even famous enough to, because the reason is it's a double negative. Poor is negative and notoriety is negative. And notice in English, two negatives tend to make something more positive. Yeah? I wouldn't use them together at all. So we're already rocking and rolling. They quickly got a taste for lobster and brought it back to the cities, where it appeared on the menus of expensive restaurants. By the end of the 19th century, lobster had cemented, fastened, soldered, bound its status as a luxury food. So here we go. Of a certain notoriety. I like that collocation. Yeah, I've got enough apple trees for it. I have got a huge number of apple trees. Okay, so cemented for SH, for Vitali, for Nora, for Ina, Abira, Count, Manji, Apur, for Ronan cemented, left right cemented, Valentine has gone for bound, Mandikan goes for fastened, Vuslat for cemented. My dignity does not allow me to do it. Yes, that's good. Can you also use reputation for a human? Yes, you can. You can't destroy my reputation, but a company can have a reputation. Reputation is a much wider general word. And cemented for Roland, for Reynard. Cemented is like sealed its status as luxury food. That's the idea, Apord. So, cemented. To fasten. You fasten your safety belt. Yeah? To solder. To solder is, you use a soldering iron to make electrical connections. You know, it makes a liquid metal and you solder, but to solder is not very strong. Had bound its status, had tied its status. It could be, but no. This definitely needs to be cemented. Cemented. Hey, you've soldered a lot of electronics, but I've never soldered a lobster. Absolutely, that's great. Yeah. Okay, so cemented for Ollis as well. Yeah, and solder is an alloy. Yes, it's an alloy that you use for soldering electronics, as GW has told us. Okay, so the next one. Thank you very much, Max. That's really kind of you. Okay, so yes, this is cemented. To solder, it's to use a specific type of metal called solder to join electronic circuits to the wires, or to join two pieces of metal together. Yeah, it's normally got lead in it and it's not very strong. Thank you, I'm very, very well, Anderson. I explained Akash, bibbering. I think it's talking rubbish. Yeah, so that's nice. And good evening, sports. Scarcity for Leferite, Vitali, Oksana, SH and Valentine. Lobster made of reinforced concrete. Scarcity for Nora, Apurva, Roland, Gabriel, Manji. Good evening, Gabriel. And Roland says a dearth. That's why I didn't. Okay, what determines which foods are luxury items? Deficiency, fortune, skimpiness, scarcity, and price. A dearth of it. So yes, you're all going for scarcity. It's a pleasure, Ayad. So scarcity for GW as well. So a deficiency. If something is deficient, it lacks something it should have. This essay is deficient. It has various deficiencies. A vitamin deficiency. A shortfall. It means you particularly in finance, where the budget is 50 and we've spent 100. We got a shortfall of 50. We don't know where we're going to find the rest of it. A shortfall, not enough. Not enough of something, but for a specific task, not in a market. Skimpy. Skimpiness. I'm thinking of a skimpy short skirt, or something that's skimpy, is very short and little. Yeah, there's not very much of it. Okay, to skimp means to save as much as you can, to make something shorter. He scrimped and saved. To skimp, not to use enough. Yeah, don't skimp on the curry powder when you make this this sauce, or don't skimp on the nutmeg. Yeah, it's not a good thing to skimp, to not use enough. So Ronan's wondering about deficiency. So let's see. Scarcity for GW, deficiency for Roland, vitamin deficiency. Scarcity for Renyard Vuslad. Skimpy, not using enough, to skimp on something. Yeah, to use too little. Scarcity for Ekaterina. And good evening, Ekaterina. And Abira goes for scarcity. Scarcity of resources, absolutely. And elixir is like a magic medicine, King Joe. So skimpiness too, depending on small portion served. Skimpiness. Well, if the price is very high, the portions are very skimpy, but I wouldn't use it at Pordva. Manisco goes for deficiency, Oksana for scarcely. Panacea is an elixir. That's a good word. I love panacea. Is a cure-all. Shortcomings. A shortcoming is normally a deficiency in somebody's character, or something that's not perfect. So we all have our shortcomings. One of the shortcomings of this method is it's so expensive. Shortage, skimpiness, shortage. A skimpy dress, a revealing dress. That's good, Apur. Okay, short, says Aina. I'm not quite with that, Abira. I'll probably get it in a second. So, all woo goes for scarcity. Good evening, I mean scarcity. With the word ubiquitous. It seems at the moment that COVID is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Petrol stations are ubiquitous. Trees are ubiquitous in the forest. Shortcomings are like failures, things which aren't perfect, which should be better. So definitely scarcity. S-C-A-R-C-I-T-Y. Scarcity, scarcity. Yeah. Corona is ubiquitous currently, everywhere. That's good, Mandican, thank you. Elixir, a universal solution or cure, magic medicine. Okay, Surah. So, wonderful to see you from Kerala. I've been to Kerala, it's a nice place. So, ubiquitous is omnipresent, yes. Prisoners who were served lobsters caused the shortage of them, which made lobsters a luxury. Well, that's what's happened today. Scantity is not a thing, scantness is, yes. Absolutely, the scantness of this. That's very fine. Okay, so let's see. Lobsters, like lobsters, oysters have long been associated with fine dining, nice dining, pretty dining, cool dining, hunky-dory dining, and special occasions, largely due to their high price. This is definitely a collocation with dining. To skimp on, to stint on, that's really good. So we got fine for Vitali, Count goes for pretty, Ina for fine, Roland for fine, Vibe says fine, Opurva says fine dining. Okay, here. Skimpy sleeves, very short, that's very good, Olis, I like it. Fine dining for Amin, for SH for Manji, so we're having a landslide for fine. Hunky-dory, it means okay. Everything's hunky-dory, everything's perfect. Yeah? Is all hunky-dory at home? Is all okay? So, VG, I think's feeling ill, so he's not hunky-dory. Hunky-dory means fantastic, is in good condition, everything's right, everything's hunky-dory. There's a brilliant album by David Bowie called Hunky Dory. Yep, everything is great, everything's hunky dory. It's a bit informal as well. Yeah, everything's hunky dory, everything's perfect. So let's see. Fine dining for Leferite, Abira, Renyard, Illumine. I love hunky dory. Me too. Me too. It's one of my favorite records. It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair, and her mummy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go, but her friend is nowhere to be seen. Hunky-dory means good, working well, as it should be. So fine dining for Anastasia, for all woo, for Ekaterina. Everything's hunky-dory. I personally love hunky-dory. Should remember this for the future. It's a great word. Here, informal word for fine. Absolutely, Manji. Refined dining. Yes, it would work. You have 2 Michelin stars. What, against your name, saying you can't go there? Or maybe you work in a 2-star Michelin restaurant. That's interesting. Okay. Fine dining, fine. Notice as well, fine dining. Nice dining, it works, but it's not the collocation. Pretty means beautiful. Cool is really informal, and hunky-dory as well. I'm sorry. Is it Bowie's birthday? Well, may he rest in peace as well. Hunky-dory, all right, but in a humorous way. On the daily business, on the daily basis. That's interesting. Oh, that sounds, daily basis to me sounds like Shane. Okay, it's a good word. It's a good word for you to have, hunky-dory. So far everything is hunky-dory with the stream. I haven't had computer problems. Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. Okay, so let's go for the next one. Lobsters. Yeah, this is about lobsters. And we're going to have this next bit about oysters. But they haven't always enjoyed this status. Oysters used to be eaten by the poorest in society in the 19th century. They were so lavish, galore, glutted, plentiful, and cheap that they were added to stews and pies to bulk them out, says food historian Polly Russell. Okay, fine wine and dine, fine dining. It's to wine and dine means to give somebody a good meal, hearty dining and a hearty lunch. So plentiful for left, right, count beauty. Okay, yeah, everything's hunky-dory at the moment. The stream is hunky-dory. Ina goes for plentiful. He would be 75 tomorrow. It's a real shame. DW is as dead. DB is as dead as a dodo. Happy birthday. Plentiful for Oksana, for Nora, for Vitali, for SH. Apura goes for galore. Ronan for plentiful. Manjira for plentiful. Abira for plentiful. Illumine for galore as well. Ekaterina for plentiful. Vuslat plentiful. Renyard for plentiful. Amin for plentiful. Okay, so firstly, galore. Normally, galore is a post-positive adjective. There were people galore, but we don't use it in this way. So galore, no. Okay, lavish. Lavish is to be very generous and to be very to have all the best, to spend lavishly. Yes, post-nominal adjective, only after the noun, exactly. Okay, plentiful for Roland. Glutted for Josh. That's an interesting choice as well. So, they were so lavish. No, the entertainment was lavish. Galore means a plenty. Yes, a plenty, but it goes afterwards. So there are people that have answers galore here. He drank whiskey galore and ended up as drunk as a skunk, very definitely. Okay, they were so glutted. A glut is when there is a lot of something on the market. There's too much and the price just falls. So an oil glut. The market is so glutted with oil that the price dropped radically. Galore exists in huge quantities. A lavish lifestyle in Dubai. Yeah, you never know, left or right. Maybe you'll get an invite. Okay, so a glut. No. If you're glutted, you've got just too much of something. Yeah? There was whiskey galore after the shipwreck. Absolutely. So the answer is plentiful. Plentiful. And I want to tell a story about oysters. It says here that oysters used to be eaten by the poorest people in society in the 19th century. Where I used to live in Oxford, when I was a kid, this was right by the river, and there was a very shallow piece of the river. And this piece of river was full of oyster shells. And the reason was this was a poor district, and the people from the pub on the corner used to throw all the oyster shells into the river. And there were literally thousands of oyster shells in the river. Okay, so he brings gifts galore. Not a gift galore, because galore means lots of, so it needs to be plural. To have wealth galore, absolutely a purva. So gluttony. Gluttony is one of my favourite things. Plentiful in big quantities, that's the idea, Ollis. Galore, like I've got who's it and what's it's galore. Yes. From the Little Mermaid, absolutely. My daughter loved that one. The price is plummeted with a U. Yes, when there's a glut. Oysters that are served nowadays must be grown, not up, must be grown in clean conditions because they eat all the mud from the seabed. Very good. Oyster is very healthy. Oysters are very healthy. A glutton is somebody who consumes voraciously. That's it. Good correction, George Washington. Okay, so we need to try another one. Yeah, we're nearly there. I'm nearly done it, so a little drink. Okay, so they were so plentiful. The River Thames, absolutely, the beautiful River Thames. Yeah? Okay. The Thames, which goes through Oxford. Well, maybe iconoclast. We'll have to see about it. By the early 20th century, oyster supplies in England started to drain, remit, let up, dwindle due to overfishing and pollution from industrial waste. As they became more scarce, their status rose, and they were seen as something special, says Russell. So, dwindle for Vitali, for Apurva, for Count, for SH, for Nora, for Oksana, for Abira. Plentiful, yes, it is gradable. Yeah, it's not a max. That's a really good question. Plentiful supplies, but not absolute, no. So, let's see, yeah, dwindle for Oksana, for Abira. Valentine goes for drain. Mandicam for dwindle. Einam, Manji, Roland, Ronan, Rainyard, and Vives for dwindle. So same for Ekaterina, for Amin and Paul. A plethora of love, thank you. That's very nice. By Om. Yeah, I remember Om. Brain drain is ubiquitous. So it's interesting, you've all gone for dwindle. To drain. To drain is where the water or the liquid pours out of something. Yeah, or the brain drain, as Roland said. Josh says dwindle as well. To remit. Normally to remit is when something is bad, but it starts to get better. Yeah, his illness has remitted. Yeah, it's in remittance. Okay, that's a good way of doing it, Illumine. Yeah, by elimination of everything else. Yeah. All that money, all that fame ain't going to help us now. All that money down the drain. Won't somebody tell me how? I thought you found a pearl inside an oyster. You can. It's certainly possible. Yeah. The rain can let up. Yeah, the rain can let up. I'm looking at these. You see, I think supplies started to remit, to get worse. No, normally remit is get better. To let up. Normally the rain lets up. He is always pestering me. He won't let up. I think let up is more the idea of to stop. Remit, remission. Brain drain is a brilliant idiom. Yes, it means all the intelligent people in a country go to another country where they can get better jobs and earn more money. Very abundant, yes. That's it, Vibes. It's not absolutely abundant. You can't be absolutely abundant. It's very abundant. That's correct. Thank you, Vibes. It's good. The bad weather remits. Yes, that's great. Dwindle must be good. Yes, it is. So to dwindle, to slowly decrease, to slowly get less. And I think we're going to stop there for today. Yeah. What's next, left or right? Well, yeah, is left or right going to Dubai? So Vuslat says dwindle as well. So enough for today, folks. I'll be back again same time next week, inshallah, God willing. Incessant rain that doesn't let up. That's a good Apurva. That's a good collocation. I like that. The pressure never lets up. It never remits. Can we use the word problem with forgetfulness? I'm suffering with the problem of forgetfulness. Yeah, that sounds perfectly fine, Om. Yeah, that's very good. Are you the same Om as we used to have before? So, thank you very much. You've been brilliant as always. Wonderful lesson. Thank you, Oksana. Thank you, left, right. Yes, the bees are absolutely fine. I've still got 5 full hives. Okay, so thank you, Oksana, Anastasia, Nora, Paul, Vibes, Mandican, Illuminate. I like that. Thanks galore. Thanks, George. Thanks, Valentine. Thanks, Madeleine. Thanks, Apurva. Yes, it's a pleasure. I will try and stay healthy, so look after yourselves. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to leave the chat on for a few minutes so that you can chat. It's been a pleasure having you, Vitali. Thanks for your participation in this. Thanks, Count. Thanks, Anna G. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Live. Nice to see you. I didn't notice you before. Okay, it's been a pleasure, SH. Okay, thank you, Om. Good night and thank you.